Episode 10 of Ralph's Stuff has a long introduction, but it's rather special, as you'll see. A segment of my trip from Alexander to Mitchell County. The full special is playing on Channel 20 now also. We had snow on Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th, 2006. There was a windy time lapse that turned out differently than I expected, and son of multicam. Hello, I'm Ralph Roberts, and welcome to Ralph's Stuff, episode 10. Trying something a little different tonight. We're doing a two-camera shoot, which is, to define it, using two cameras. And we'll be cutting back and forth between them. So, and on top of that, I'm going to show you some of the editing I'm doing on this very episode. So you may find it interesting. Come on, join me here. Over here. Good. Okay. Let's see what we got here. This, of course, is my editing system. I call it Bigfoot. Bigfoot is a 4-processor system with a 42-inch monitor on the wall here. And let me see what I'm doing. What's on the screen, on the monitor screen right now, is the regular intro to the show. Use the same intro every time. And if you've ever watched the show, you've seen it open and play the music and so forth. So we're really just started. I still have a lot of open space on this to fill. But I do have a couple of things. I enjoyed doing the time-lapse photography so much in episode 9 that I did another one. And I thought I was going to have a really nice movement of clouds again. This was done on December the 1st. And it was predicted that we were going to have thunderstorms, so I thought there was a big front moving in and that I would really get something spectacular to show you guys here on Channel 20. Unfortunately, things changed. The winds got very high and the clouds were blown away. But that turned out okay because with the high winds, the trees and bushes were moving around quite a bit, and it turned out to be a pretty nice time lapse. So you'll be seeing that in tonight's show. Now also, I already have in place the last segment is one on using multicams. Which again are two cameras, two or more cameras. In this case, I'm using two cameras. And I have it switching back and forth between the two cameras, just like I do in this intro segment. The advantage of that, it makes the video more interesting, gives it a little bit more action, so it's just simply more professional to do it that way. And rather easy to do it, actually, if you have two cameras or more, which luckily I do. Okay, we'll go back to the first part of this. This is my video editing program, by the way, and it's lets you do a lot of special effects as well as easily cut and paste video segments and make up a show. Now, you'll notice there are two monitors. That simply lets me spread the timeline out more and more easily see what I'm doing. And with the big monitor on the wall, I can see the final result, which works pretty well. Now, I have two cameras, as I mentioned. The first one here is a high-definition camera, although we're running it in standard definition so you can see what's going on this show, because Channel 20, like most television channels today, cannot broadcast in high definition. A few can, and eventually in a few years all of them will be, and we'll have much better pictures than we see now on television. The other camera is a larger studio camera that is standard definition, so there's no conversion or anything needed to be done on it, so it works out pretty well. And of course I've got some lighting and to make it look a little bit more interesting. And I think I've got the lighting between the two moderately close. It's hard to get them exact without going to more effort than this introduction warrants, but we'll have to try it. So, yep, they're both on and both working. I've got two monitors. I wonder if the little monitor's showing there. I don't see it. I don't think. Let's see. Nope, the little monitor's not there. Sometimes you have to figure out, because the images are reversed in the monitors, which side you're actually pointing to. I'm pointing right now. So just have to, if you're using monitors to position yourself, you have to realize which way you're actually moving. And I have red lights on the cameras showing me that both of them are recording now. So everything's running along smoothly. And the problem remains for tonight. I have all this empty space to fill in. Now this introduction is going to help some and fill in some of that space, but I'm going to have to come up with some other things also. But that's the real advantage of having a program called Draft Stuff. You know, stuff is whatever you can stuff in, and I can create and stuff in a lot of stuff, and hence I'm a stuffer-inner, etc., etc. So there's no particular format I have to worry about, or it keeps the show a lot fresher, a lot more enjoyable for me to do, because whatever I'm interested in at the moment, or whatever technique I'm learning, I can put on the I can put on the show. Now, one of the things I'm learning is animation, and this animation I'm working on, I'm bringing it up on the computer to show you, might actually wind up being in the show tonight. In fact, I think it will be. This is an animation of Christmas tree ornaments, who are, well, you'll see what kind of character they have in just a moment as soon as I get loaded in. And it's going to be my Christmas greeting probably on this show or the next one, perhaps on this one if I can finish it. We've gotten a little bit tired of political correctness, so this year we're wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. That's what the season's about. So if you want to have other holidays, that's fine, but I'm telling you not telling you, I'm requesting you to have a Merry Christmas. So let's see, we need to load the scene I was working on. Where'd it go? Ah, there it is. Okay. Here we go. These are the animated Christmas ornaments, and let me render out what they actually look at. I have to tell it to show it on the big screen. There we go. Now, let's take just a few moments to render. And we'll see our little Christmas tree ornament characters in a better shape. Let's see it. Yep, this rendering on the screen, and you'll see it on the large screen up here in just a moment. Now there are 1,800 frames in this. There they are, little characters. There are 1,800 frames in this movie, and it's only 60 seconds. It runs about 30 seconds or 30 frames per second. So, and I've already done one animation of it, and it took like 16 hours. So it takes some time, but let me show you that one. Let's go back to our video program and open, save what I've got, and open a recent project, which, there we go. Just so you can understand what I'm talking about. Lots of neat and cool things to do when you're playing with video. Here we go. These are the little guys. Yep, they're showing on the screen above me, up there. These little guys have a good time dancing around. I was rather proud of the hair and eyebrows that I included on them. This is all from scratch using. Now that's something I got to fix. You probably didn't see it, but one of the yellow Christmas tree ornaments went right through one of the red ones. That's not acceptable. Thanks to the Sugar Plum Fairies is the music behind it from Tchaikovsky, a traditional classical Christmas piece. So that's what we're doing, and making pretty good progress. And I simply need to go back and open my show for tonight. There we go. So rather than spending my time talking to you guys here, I guess I better get to work so you'll have a show to watch. So let's go ahead and let me see if this came out, and if so, you'll see it in the show. And meanwhile, I got to come up with some other stuff for you. So here we go. Thanks a lot for watching. We really do appreciate it. Hi, I'm Ralph Roberts. On November 29th of this year, I had to make a business trip up to Mitchell County, so I thought I'd film it. Here I am programming the onboard satellite navigation, because where I'm going is...
Please drive to highlighted route.
Thank you, Karen. Where I'm going is considerably off the beaten path. So that's my office we're leaving. A little rainy. It's about 10 or so after 4 in the afternoon.
Continue 1.8 miles, then turn right on Olivet Road.
And we're leaving my place in Alexander, heading down towards French Broad River, and we'll cross it and go up to Highway 1923, which is the new I-26, to go up through Mars Hill and Burnsville and on up into Mitchell County. This is Macedonia Road that we're on, the road I live on. The satellite navigation has really made a difference. You never get lost anymore. It's extremely handy to have. We have it in both our cars. Especially going into an area I haven't been into in over 30 years and have no memory of where to go. My vehicle is my new 4-wheel drive SUV, which turned out to be quite handy because the person I was going to see lived on a small dirt road way back up on top of a mountain almost. So I got to try out the 4-wheel and drive, and it worked quite well. But we're still less than a mile from home here. I grew up out in this area and I've lived here most of my life, so I can pretty well tell you who lives in every house along through here, or at least who used to live in those houses. A lot of new people moving in now, new houses being built, and like everyone else, I've lost track of who's in the area. Some of the folk from up north don't have quite the good neighbor traits that we're used to down here. Hopefully they'll eventually learn how it works. Just excuse me, just enough rain to keep the windshield wipers barely on. We've got a wide angle lens on my camera so that we can see the entire windshield here. Those of you who watched my trip from Silva back to Alexander a few weeks ago noted that your vision to the front was somewhat limited. I want to make sure that...
Turn right on Olivet Road.
Thank you, Karen. I wanted to make sure that you could see well. Karen is one of the voices that comes with the GPS, and of course it's in
Turn right on Olivet Road.
So we're turning right on Olivet Road, yes. One of the voices that comes with the GPS unit.
Drive 0.3 miles, then turn left on Old Leicester Road.
Karen's actually an Australian accent, but we found her more pleasant than the American or British English accents, so we use her all the time now. She's usually in contact with 6 or 7 satellites at least.
Turn left on Old Leicester Road, then turn right.
And is constantly calculating the shortest route to wherever the destination point is. This way is one I wouldn't normally go unless I was following the satellite navigation, because this is a shortcut down to the French Broad River, and it was only recently paved.
7 miles, then turn left on Highway 251.
As you can probably tell by the rumble, it's still a little rough, and it's certainly curvy, but it remains a nice shortcut. We're maybe 3-4 miles north of Asheville at this point. Sharp curve. On December 7th, 1941, the Japanese launched a surprise air attack on Pearl Harbor, starting our war in the Pacific. It was, to quote President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a day which shall live in infamy. On December 7th, 2006, the aerial attack was by snow, which was a lot less damaging. But I thought you guys might enjoy seeing this first real snow of the season out here in Alexander on the farm. You can see it's starting to lay pretty well, although we never got more than about half an inch or so total, I think. Still, it did get rather cold. Our water froze. Luckily, it unfroze within a few hours, so we had water again. Anytime you hear the temperatures going down below 20, leave your faucets barely dripping water overnight, and it'll save you having them freeze. The old barn there is a nice background, and this maple tree is a nice background for the snow falling. This was a milking parlor when we had the dairy farm about 50 years ago. And looking out over my field, you can see the snow's really coming down pretty nice now. And It's cold too. That's why this particular segment is only about 2 minutes long. That's about how long I lasted out in the cold before I decided it was time to go inside and edit it. That's my house. And you see the tracks across the driveway there. Those are my tracks. Nothing mysterious about them. Someone along the road pulling a trailer in the snow, but the roads really didn't get that slick. It wasn't too bad. This is enjoyable snow. I suspect we'll have deeper ones later in the year, so enjoy. I had so much fun with the time-lapse segment showing the clouds moving across the sky that I did in episode 9. I decided to try another one for episode 10 and possibly make it even better. So I set up the big camera looking back towards the west and set it to take a half-second video every 30 seconds, which works out to 1 second per minute of time elapsed. And I let it run for about 4 hours, so I have roughly 4 minutes of video in this segment. And indeed, it started out pretty nice. As you can see, the clouds are moving around nicely back towards the west. Thunderstorms were predicted for that day. So I thought we'd have a really nice segment here with the black thunder clouds coming ominously into the area. But what really happened was the wind got up pretty high and the clouds were blown away, and eventually the sky becomes rather nice blue without any clouds in it. As you can see, the clouds are going away right now as we watch. So I thought, well, gee, what a bummer, this one didn't work out. However, I noticed just before I cut off the camera that the wind was up pretty high. In fact, we were having rather high gusts of wind, and that the limbs and bushes limbs of the tree and the bushes were moving around rather well. So I left the camera running, and I'm glad I did, because we had a rather nice show. It was extremely gusty conditions. Still, especially in the foreground there is on the right is a boxwood that I grew up on this place. I've lived here. I'm 60 now, and this has always been my permanent residence. So I've watched that particular boxwood for over 60 years now. I think it's somewhere around 75 years old. But as you can see, that old boxwood can still dance and jitter and move around. So there's hope for all of us, I suppose. Interesting thing about that boxwood, when I was a little boy back in the 1950s, there was a guy that came around and would give us several dollars every time to let him cut leaves off of it. And he'd harvest a bunch of greenery and trim essentially pay us to let him trim the boxwood. I never have figured out what he used that for, but he was reselling them as some sort of mountain remedy for some element or the other. I need to research that one of these days and find out what it was really for. A lot of people made money back in those days because it was one of the few ways of making money in harvesting what was called mountain yarbs. We call them yarbs, but it's really herbs. Herbs, herbs. Ginseng was a big thing that they harvest, and there was a large warehouse up on Broadway where you could go sell the ginseng, and you could smell that warehouse for several miles in each direction, or several blocks rather. So I can still recall that as a kid. We didn't have air conditioning in our old cars then, going by there on a hot summer day and smelling the ginseng and the other herbs that were in the warehouse. It was located down near where you turn up to go to UNCA now. So a lot of interesting things happened in Asheville over the years. Oh, those trees are still moving around. Looking good. Hi, I'm Ralph Roberts, and this is a test of using a multi-camera setup. Now, multi-camera, of course, means more than one camera. I've got my my big camera, my big studio camera, looking directly at me, and vice versa. I can see myself in the big lens. Then I have my smaller camera set up to the side, which actually, as I look at the monitor on it, I can you can see part of the large camera. Excuse me. And I have a monitor on the large camera where I can see myself on there too. Now, the multi-camera concept, which is what most professional studio shows use these days, allows you to cut back and forth between the shots taken by each camera with the audio synchronized, so that you get a more professional looking, more interesting video than you do just by using single shots. So this has been a test, and I actually have two video monitors, or two remotes to control the camera. This is for the smaller one and for the larger one, so I'm going to cut them off and edit them in and see what it looks like. Then this should be pretty neat. It's a lot of fun playing with it. Okay, so here we go. We're now stopping the small camera and the large camera. Go to ralphwroberts.com to see this show again.